Meg,
Yes.
welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
For those that don't know who you are and what you do, could you give us just like a quick overview of your channel, your stream, and your community?
Yeah. So I'm Vendrilli, or Meg V, also known by Amish Ace as Valandry. Um and I build things. I build Gunpla. I've been building what else have I built? I build basically plastic models, and my community has no chill. So if you come into my chat, it does get 18 plus. Yep. And I mean, for the most part, it's just like a very chill, fun thing. We get to joke around while building model kits. I do a lot of customizing as well. I think my newest build, a lot of you may have already seen it, but it was Major Tomcat, and it was inspired by a sticker that USA Gundam store had exclusively for a Black Friday event. And then I kind of wanted to incorporate like more of like my cat mom energy into it. So I'm also a huge cat advocate. So my boys do jump on stream with me, and occasionally sometimes a creepy crawler, like a hissing cockroach or tarantula. So yeah, that's like the gist of it.
Building kits, I guess having no chill and
no chill.
None whatsoever. And a particular love for cats, which I've witnessed firsthand while watching your stream. So what got you started on Twitch specifically?
It kind of went from, I was on Instagram and I had a very lovely setup. Let me regale you with this one. It was an Amazon box, probably about like yay big. It wasn't big at all. And I stuffed it full of like tissue paper and stuff so that it would have like some type of weight to it. And then I would duct tape a selfie light around it, like the selfie ring lights. And I had a selfie stick that was also very, very just engineered really well, and duct taped. And so I would stream at a local card shop, and I just found that I really, really liked it and it was fun. But, you know, Instagram can be kind of a smaller audience when it comes to live streaming. So I had kind of already started watching people on Twitch, and I'm like, okay, it would be such a fun thing to do to get started on Twitch and to kind of, you know, be around a whole nother community, because there isn't a ton of Gunpla on Twitch, but I've always liked makers and crafting. And that category just kind of like called out to me, and I was like, you know what, we're going to try this. And I am not one for editing videos, which is why I don't do YouTube, because I am a chaotic mess. And there would be nothing that would get done. And yeah, so that's why I ended up choosing Twitch as like my main platform.
Yeah. How long were you streaming on Instagram or focused on it before Twitch?
Ooh, probably 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, about 2 years. But I was waiting basically to like get my own setup, and then I moved into my apartment and got a grown-up job. So I was able to like start affording things and have the setup that I do now. So yeah. I do miss the selfie stick and box though.
That is one of the best setups I've ever heard. And I feel it was
oh yeah,
primo. You know, I mean, I'll say, you know, I didn't my setup wasn't much better when I got started, to be honest with you. So I think many of us
somewhere.
Yeah, we all got to start somewhere. When you moved over from Instagram and you started going to Twitch, what was it like transitioning over? What were kind of the adjustments that you had to make getting used to Twitch versus Instagram, especially since you did that for 2 years beforehand?
Instagram was so easy. All I had to do was just click a button and I was live. And I think it cuts you off at like an hour or something. So, all I had to do was just, here's my phone, go live, we're done. And you just got like one shot of me and I would have to angle it so you would see what I'm working on. And it was great. Twitch was a whole nother beast for me. Yeah. As you found pre-stream, I am not, I struggle technically. I just struggle with tech, okay? So thankfully, my boyfriend Freddie helps do like my layouts and everything. So he was able to kind of configure like a whole setup as well. With cable management, because I'm also bad at that. So it was a lot. It was a lot different. And then I had to do emotes. I had to make sure that I had pop-ups so things were interactive with chat, because on Instagram, you don't have any of that. You don't have to worry. It's just you talking, and like that can be fun, but sometimes you need like a little spice. And
yeah.
So I think that was definitely the biggest change, is having to have all of the like animations and things and sound bites kind of incorporated into stream. So
all of those little interactive parts, and then all the technology that it uses is probably a big adjustment.
Yeah, it definitely was. There was like a learning curve, and I mean, several streams where things just failed, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. I think when most of us get started. What was like the chat and like the engagement like compared to Instagram? Like, how do you feel when you was it a different vibe, or did it kind of feel the same?
I feel like chat from Instagram had no chill. And then chat came over to my Twitch, and chat was like, we're going to have extra no chill. And it's chaotic in my chat. It's definitely, there's more viewers and whatnot on Twitch, but it's just, because it's a bigger platform and whatnot. But yeah, it's still chaotic as ever in that chat. So not much changed. I'd say that it increased. And there is more chatting on Twitch.
Did you feel like you brought, because you said it carried over to Twitch? So did a lot of those Instagram chatters and viewers come over straight to Twitch with you, or how did that work?
Yeah, so that was really awesome. Because a lot of my followers did. I think I started when I had like 2,000 or something on Instagram, and I maybe had like 30 people that watched on the lives. But they ended up, because the community is so like small and whatnot, we ended up getting like a lot of people come over to my Twitch. And from there, it kind of just started like branching out and kind of leaked into other communities like Lego.
Oh yeah.
And it just kind of became this big like mixing pot and whatnot. But I'd say there was a fair amount. I probably like had 200 followers within a couple months, which was kind of cool, because I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought that was really strange, and it's still kind of strange that people watch me talk and build plastic things, but whatever.
Yeah. Do you question them? Do you question them live on chat, where you're just like, why are you even here?
Oh yeah, all the time. And then I'm like, why are you guys here? And then I give them weird bug facts, and we end up talking about the Matrix and amongst other things that aren't appropriate to say on this stream. But
I've heard some of it, so it's all
yes.
It's
and
all
there
good.
is some. For anybody that watched a particular stream, I am so sorry from the deepest bottom of my heart that you rated into that.
How cryptic. I love it.
Yeah, if you know.
Yeah. So tell me, so a big part of what you do is Gunpla, and of course the kits. Tell me about how you got into that, and kind of your history with it?
Yeah. So I wish I could share photos on here because I would show you my first build and it
Mm,
was gorgeous.
yeah.
Nubs everywhere. So I got into it because a friend of mine was just like, hey, watch this anime. And I've always kind of been like a weeb. I love anime and kind of the culture that surrounds it.
Mhm.
So I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And I also like older animation. So anything that's kind of like 70s, 80s, I actually really enjoy the artwork on it. And so I just fell in love with the original Gundam. I watched the entire series. It was really long.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there, I just kind of started steamrolling and watching other ones, like 8th MS Team, War in the Pocket. And I kind of was just like, this is amazing. And as a kid, I kind of liked like arts and crafts and these little like wooden models I'd put together as a kid too. So my friend was like, hey, there's model kits of these. And to be honest, I looked at it and said, I don't know, because I'm not very patient when I'm putting things together.
Mhm.
So I just thought about it and I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll give it a try. So I built a high grade Zaku.
Mm,
And I was so proud of it.
yeah.
So proud. So I posted it on Instagram and you could just see like nubs on the shoulder, parts aren't
Right.
even put together. Cause I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I posted it and I remember there was two people who were like, hey, you should post more of this. This is really cool. And I was like, oh, okay. And thus my personal Instagram ended up becoming a Gunpla account. And it was very just by accident. It was never meant to kind of turn into like a stream thing or anything like that. I was just like, hey, this is fun.
Yeah.
Then it just became a hobby.
At this point, how many model kits roughly have you put together since you started?
For the hobby or for work?
I'd love to hear both.
For my personal stuff, probably it has to be around like 60 all together because I've done some like freelance commission things on the side, well over 100.
Wow. Do you have
There's a
any
lot.
yeah, well, that is a lot. Do you have any, like,
Yeah.
particular ones that you're very proud of?
I'd have to say my customs. I love my custom pieces because a lot of them are snap builds, and I'll put them in my snap build like bucket
Mhm.
or like I was gonna say Tupperware. It's not Tupperware. Storage container. There we go. So I put it on my in like a storage container, and I kind of am like, I'll revisit this when I feel like it. But I feel like my custom pieces are kind of what I'm really proud of. And
Yeah.
those are like my horror diorama that I recently did of like a camping van in the forest. And of course, Major Tomcat. That one is
Yeah.
probably that's my favorite, hands down.
Yeah.
um, and then I think my first one is actually a bat, but I don't show it because I carved this mountain that looks like a pile of poop. But I was really proud of it. I was really, really proud of it. And I'm like, this is amazing. I took it to a competition, and years later, looking back at it, I think, wow, that looked like a literal pile of poop. It was very
In a
Chris
good way.
Pabs in chat will know too, because he wants to send pictures. Um, but it was this little tiny haro, and I stuck wings on it from a different kit. And it was the first time that I got to airbrush. So that I'm really proud of. I've also done like a snow globe with a haro in it. And then I started building up to like actual the Gunpla kits themselves.
Mhm.
So I did like a nightingale, and I hand painted cherry blossoms. I made a tree. My T-Rex diorama is also one of my very, very favorites because I am a huge dinosaur fan.
That's incredible to hear just about all, like, also the sheer, variety of things that you've built, which is really cool to hear, and it sounds like your experience is quite extensive, which is awesome, and then to have someone of your, experience streaming it, on Twitch. That's truly incredible. How has streaming this affected your ability to put the kits together or work on it, since you're talking to a live audience while you do it? How has that changed the process for you?
It's so hard. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
for for everybody that does watch me, you guys know I am a talker, and you get me going on one subject and I just don't shut up. So I will sit here with like two parts in my hand, and we have like an ongoing joke in my channel that, like, how far along are you? And it could be 46 minutes in and I'm still stuck with these two pieces. So sometimes when I do like difficult customizations, or if I have to break out, say like my like when I did Major Tom, I had to gut the entire like head part. So I had to use an ultrasonic knife, and there was no way that I was going to do that on stream, because I did not want to cut myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to really concentrate on that. And so there are things that I don't do on stream and things that I do, because I do like to interact with chat. That's kind of like my number one thing is I love to talk to people, because like in real life, I'm not very social, only with like a handful of people. So Twitch is great because I could just chat all day.
I wouldn't have known that you feel that way about socializing with others, given the streams that I've sat and looked on, and I think that's really cool that you found like this is how I can talk to people. That's amazing. I have a hard time just building Lego, which is, in my opinion, far easier to do than these kits. And I have a hard time making progress on those while talking to chat. And so I think it's incredible that you even do it on the regular while talking to people and engaging others, because I feel like, because I build some of these kits too, not nearly as many as you have, but I haven't yet streamed it because of my concern that I would be unable to even get through a kit or even like do a good job with it. So I'm amazed. I'm amazed by your ability to even do that and talk to chat.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Sometimes it gets very hard. And I know chat has watched me struggle before too. So sometimes like when I need a break, I'll take like a little palette cleanser and we'll do like Lego or like the LOL bricks that I get off like USA Gundam store. Or we'll just do something that's kind of like super chill for me so I can kind of zone out but still talk with chat. Though there has been times where like I'll do that palette cleanser type of thing and play a game, or we'll play Lego or play Lego. we play Lego. No, where I'll build Lego and I end up building it incorrectly because I'm focused on chat.
Right. I can completely relate to that. That happens to me all the time. I'll be building a set, I'll be looking at the instructions, and then I'll get to a point, I'm like, what the hell did I just do? This is not right. And then I have to go back like 5 steps or more and fix it.
Yeah, it's a curse.
It is. It absolutely is. You're in a unique position though, because it is very rare to see like model kits or Gunpla or anything like that on Twitch. What kind of reactions do you get from people who aren't as familiar with it when they stumble upon your channel?
Yeah, so my number one thing is people like don't know what Gundam is, and they sometimes think it's a transformer. I'd have to say there's sometimes when people will come in and they think that I've scratch built an entire kit. And I have to remind them like it's on sprues and like you cut it out. So sometimes you could like take it as like a learning opportunity, and you can like show people exactly how to do it, almost like tutorial style, which is always really nice to try and like get people in there and rope them on in. But I think most of the time people just aren't sure what it is, because when you hear like plomo or model building, you think tanks, kind of scale modeling like that, and airplanes. which there are a few people who do that. So I don't think that people are accustomed to seeing, robots or tiny little like gadgets, cats, things like that, and seeing more of like a sci-fi side to it.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes talking them through like what it is to even put together one of these kits and actually use it as an opportunity.
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if people can see that it is sort of simple, you just, you get your nippers and you cut it out, you can put it together, and you don't have to do anything fancy with it.
Right.
And sometimes it comes with stickers or decals and stuff, and it's like a fun way to de-stress. And if you like building things, and I even say if you like Lego too, it's something that I think everybody should try.
As a kid, I used to build model kits, mostly like cars, things like that, couple planes. And
Oh.
so model kits were a big deal for me. Lego was a big deal for me. And then, over the years, I kind of stopped doing those things. And then I got back into Lego as an adult. Finding Gunpla was like you just described. Like if you like building things, like these kits are just awesome for that. And I think that's the thing when I've talked to people about it on stream, when they ask how difficult it is, because I think I've ran into people who think it's kind of scary to put together one of those
Hmm.
kits. What would you tell people who are like, is it really, this looks hard?
So I've described it to a couple people, and this might sound silly, but kind of as a recipe.
Yeah.
And you've got your manual, you just need to follow the steps.
Hmm.
And the easiest way for when like I started is I would organize my runners by the letters.
Hmm.
And just go like A through or A, B, C, D, and so on. And then I would just go step by step, and I would make sure to like mark it off with a pen so that I knew that I did that, because sometimes you can get confused, especially when it's your first time. But I always say wing it. And that's probably horrible advice, but that is the advice
No.
that I give everybody is just wing it and have fun with it, because as long as you're having fun, like at the end of the day, that's kind of the main goal.
Yeah.
And you know what, if you mess up, most of the time you can go back and fix it, and you can find other ways to fix kits. Say if you break a part, well, now you get to learn how to cement that part back together.
Yeah.
um, so I always am kind of like, you can make things, you can fail at making them, and then turn that into like an opportunity to kind of figure out how you can fix that.
Mhm.
And then that starts trickling and leading, into like customization.
It's very cool how you can offer all this experience to your community and to anyone who stumbles upon your channel. Do you find yourself doing a lot of like informing and teaching while you stream it?
Sometimes we have educational streams. Usually when anybody asks, a lot of people who are in my chat actually have like a ton more experience than me. And they've been modeling for years.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like a give and take kind of thing. Like sometimes I give advice, sometimes they give advice. For the most part, it's kind of more of like a hangout spot. So chat's there to not chill.
Right.
um, so I mean, there are times though where I'll walk through something and, say like when I did my horror diorama with the van, I was creating like a forest and whatnot. So I kind of went step by step of how you would flock a tree because somebody had wanted to know. So I
Mhm.
definitely don't ever mind going in depth on anything. All you have to
Yeah.
do is just ask.
As part of the makers and crafters community, we tend to be a pretty close group of streamers, mostly within our kind of subcategory. How was it for you finding other content creators who do the same sort of thing on Twitch?
It was a little difficult. I feel like when the pandemic hit, I saw more people actually come to Twitch and
Mhm.
do Gunpla and stuff like that. But it was kind of difficult at first because, like you said, it's not something that's very common. So there was a couple people that I already knew, and so I kind of followed them, and they started rating other people, and kind of just through rating and hosting, when that was a thing, that's kind of how I found out about people, and then joining a bunch of Discords. I found like a whole little community of Gunpla streamers that I didn't even know existed. So yeah, it was really neat. I really enjoyed getting into everything when I first started, and I still enjoy it. It was definitely just great to kind of make that like little discovery.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's very tough finding streamers who do the same thing. It's
Mhm.
Lego is a pretty, I'd say, relatively, like, not big, but it's certainly a sizable community. And then I think of like model kits or Gunpla and things like that. I definitely have noticed that it's a little harder to find that on Twitch. Like how do you end up finding other ones? Is it mostly through raids and things like that?
Yeah, I think it's mostly through raids. I do go looking because throughout the day, like while I'm at my job and whatnot, I kind of like to have something in the background.
Yeah.
So I try to find other model builders. And sometimes it can be hard on Twitch, so I have to go to the YouTube. But for the most part, it's just scrolling through makers and crafting until I can find somebody,
Yeah.
or going through people's like live notifications and trying to like find people who stream throughout the day.
Yeah.
So a little bit of detective work and a little bit of the raids.
When I was trying to get into like just the makers and crafters in general, and then as you know, I'm a Lego person, so it was always like a search for a while for the first several weeks. Like, is there anyone else doing this? And I actually, yeah, I've stumbled upon miniature painters. I've stumbled upon model kits here and there, but it's definitely tough to just find other people doing it. It's very cool that you're actively looking. It's always, and I always personally feel when I find a new streamer that's like new to me that's doing the same stuff, I always get super excited.
Yeah, it's kind of a giddy feeling because you're like, oh, now I can like go and chat this person up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hey, welcome to, yeah. How long have you been streaming this? Are there any particular streamers in the same space that you really enjoy watching or interacting with?
There is a lot.
You're like,
I know somebody's going to be like, wow, Meg,
thanks,
you did
Meg.
not mention me. Yeah. But I feel like, who do I watch the most? Goodness, Chris Pabs used to stream. I don't know if he streams anymore, but he would kick my butt if I didn't mention him.
Yeah, I see him in chat.
I also watch like Jose Mochi, Pro Cthulhu are some of the ones that I watch a lot of. Dokudel. I know Free Heathen. He doesn't do like plastic model building, but more of like 3D modeling. Who else? War Duck Miniatures, Kit Checker, and that's just to name a few. So if I did not name you, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, we don't need to start any controversy here. I was just trying to get, like,
you're gonna get me canceled.
No, you're fine. It's fine. Built Overbot in chat saying she should just check chat for the names for the people.
For the people, yeah. I should just go down the list and.
To put it another way, are there any particular streamers that inspire you, or you watch particular, and they don't have to necessarily be doing the same thing, but are there other creators on the platform that you're like, oh, I love what they do, and I want to incorporate similar things or use that inspiration for your own stuff?
So I feel like my biggest inspiration, and they're already gonna know, but it's somebody who has helped me since I began Gunpla and just plastic model building, is it would be Chris Pabs. He has been so kind, and it wasn't only that he kind of inspired me to push myself more, but also just to be in like this community because he was so welcoming. He was always there when I needed like any type of question answered.
Right.
So I'm a huge fan of you, Chris. And Oz slander he puts in chat.
Yeah.
No, like, so Chris Pabs is really good. Also Gundamonium works. He just does amazing work. And sometimes I look and I'm like, I don't even know how he does that. It's amazing. Also, I'd have to say Freddie was wrong, but he doesn't stream too much anymore. We've been pushing him to stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
I think those are probably like my biggest inspirational like influences. And just for the way that they do things and their knowledge, but I think mostly because like they've always been super, super nice and like willing to help.
Super supportive, very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie was wrong as saying lies in here. Chris, as you pointed out, said slander.
As you can tell, no chill.
Everyone's saying give Freddie a raise in chat.
Bob, Freddie's not getting a raise. I already know where that's coming from.
I'm totally not in on this joke, but Freddie earlier asked, what's the best level of the Matrix?
So I have a very big fear that the Matrix is real and that we are just all in the Matrix. So my chat always messes with me and will send me like Matrix gifts or something on the side, like, oh, we're in the Matrix TikTok or a Reddit post. I am really terrified to think that we're in a simulation because that's really freaky. Yeah. So that's what the whole Matrix thing is.
I've heard, I've noticed the occasional reference to it when I've lurked. I always wondered. I didn't want to be the one person to ask, but I see it now. I get it.
Yeah, totally scared of the Matrix. Love the movies. My tarantula is actually named Neo. Just the thought of being in the actual Matrix. I want to wake up. If so, I want to know. Yeah.
How long has that been like a thing in your community, like since it started?
Oh my goodness. It came up when we were talking about time travel, which is a topic you just can't bring up in stream because it goes south very fast. So I'd have to say probably for like a year and a half. It was right around when I watched The Matrix for the first time, so probably like a year and a half.
Yeah, I've noticed a couple of those references here in chat. It's like, well, we're gonna have to talk about this. Because I've seen people bring that up like in like it on like Reddit and other forums like that. They're like, what if we're in a simulation and what if we're basically in the Matrix? And I didn't realize it was such a fear of yours though, Meg.
It is. Have you ever read like the stories on Glitch in the Matrix subreddit? It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, what if, we wake up and none of this is real? Like it's all just fabricated and like then my cats wouldn't be real. And that's I think what bugs me the most is my cats wouldn't be real. I don't care, the people around me, okay. But like my cats, Waylon Yutani and Deckard Cain, if they weren't real, that would kill me.
Something to think about. Does it keep you up at night?
Sometimes.
Especially when chat like hammers on that particular thing.
Like I said, sometimes people will send me like, Instagram DMs or TikToks and stuff. And it's like, what if the Matrix is real? Yeah. And then it gets me thinking.
You're laying awake at night, wondering about it. Wow.
Just contemplating it.
Yeah. I'll try to keep my restraint in sending you more of that stuff, but I may
I appreciate it.
I may start DMing you some things. I'm just kidding. Any particularly juicy one, like articles or stories, I'll just start sending your way.
Oh man. Oh, I'm gonna start staying up later at night now.
You're like, no, please don't. Now that you've been doing Gunpla and content creation and kind of mixing those two things together, what is that like for you kind of doing this very unique thing and trying to build a community off of that. How has that been for you? Has it seemed challenging kind of doing something in this space, or do you find it actually uh, freeing doing something that's not like most things on Twitch?
So I think it definitely has like its pros and cons. Like I said earlier, all of this was kind of a go with the flow thing. It was never really supposed to be like blossom into streaming. I never really had that thought when I began it.
Yeah.
But there's days where I feel like I really need to stick to my stream schedule. And it can be a little challenging because, sometimes we don't always have the best days. And to try and do your best and go on stream, that's what I find can be challenging sometimes when I'm having a bad day.
Right.
Because I like suffer from panic disorder. So not every day is a great day.
Yeah.
And, but for the most part, I just find it fun. It is my way to socialize and kind of hang out with people, do a little like crafting and building something and kind of taking the ideas that I have in my head and bringing them to life in like the physical realm. That is what is so freeing about all of it, and getting to share that with everybody. Because at the end of the day, I feel like the reason I do this is not only for like my own benefit to get socialization, but to also make other people smile. And that's kind of my ultimate goal is I just want everyone to kind of like come here and smile and have like a good time, because, life isn't always great. And if you could like escape the world for a little bit, do it.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I think it's really cool that you use your hobby as, building kits as something that is just a nice, fun thing to do for you, but then you're prioritizing the atmosphere and making it fun for people to come to your stream. I appreciate that. I think it's cool to hang out in your channel, and I definitely recognize that you're really all about talking to your community and everyone that's in chat. So thank you for sharing that. Uh,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I'll always want to make people feel like comfortable and welcome, and kind of just treat everybody as like, longtime friends. Cause sometimes you just, you show up, you need somebody to talk to, whether it be about your morning coffee or something your dog did, and you just want to share it. And you can always do that in my chat, and always send me cat photos.
so I can assume that you have a whole cat like channel in your Discord or something like that. Yeah.
I actually don't have a Discord.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. I tried having my own Discord, and again, not technically savvy. So I just found it a little too much. And I felt like me having a Discord and trying to juggle that amongst like streaming and stuff and being present in there wasn't really working. And I'd rather give everybody like, the best version of me, like 110% effort. I just wasn't there enough for Discord to really blossom. So I hang out on everybody else's Discord.
That's awesome. That, I think it takes a lot for someone to realize like where their comfort level is, right? Because I think a lot of creators who are doing their thing, they're like, oh, I have to have a Discord, or I have to have this or that. And then, like you said, it's hard to juggle those things or even give the best of you to the community if you're trying to split your focus on so many different avenues of communication. So I admire that. There are days where I'm like, it's hard to keep up. It's really hard because I have a Discord and I sometimes fall behind in terms of like seeing what people are saying or chatting about. And
I recently just made a TikTok. And I made it maybe like 2 months ago. And I couldn't figure out how to see how people DM me. So if I haven't answered your TikTok, I'm not ignoring you. I have like a pile of DMs now. So I guess like learning new social platforms too can be like a little challenging.
Oh yeah.
It's just, I'd rather kind of focus on one thing and put my all into it versus trying to just spread myself too thin. And I've definitely recognized that's like a weakness of mine. So I'd rather stick with the stuff that makes me happy and not for the sake of having all socials and discords and things like that. I'd rather just keep it like less stressful.
You're definitely ahead of the curve compared to where I was, because I think I jumped right into all that, and then I had dozens of things that I was trying to manage, and then I just wonderfully failed at all of it. So
yeah, it gets overwhelming quick. Like at one point I did have a Discord and I couldn't do it. I had friends who were helping me and I just said, you know what? We're going to nerf it. We're going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You can find me here.
You're around. I think that for me, I could have very well waited, but I think I set one up like really early and it probably wasn't as necessary. For you, when you got started doing this whole thing, like content creation and broadcasting what you do, is there anything looking back that you do differently or tell yourself to do differently if you had the opportunity to kind of like, rewind the clock here? How would you do it if knowing what you know now?
This is going to sound so corny. I don't think I'd change a thing because going through all the ups and downs on streaming, there has been some great moments that have just either been hilarious or I've learned from. And I don't think that I would change it. So far, I've had a pretty good journey. Maybe the only thing I could say is when I live streamed on Instagram. I would not do it in a card shop because random people were like, let's just jump into your live stream. And that's another thing too, is I also like started on StreamYard and I would have like people on and it was hard for me to juggle everybody's conversation plus chat. So if I really had to choose one thing, for me, it would have been just stay kind of like solo or, sometimes bring like just one other person on because it can get confusing fast and just very confuddled is my word for it.
That's definitely good advice because it's already hard to do whatever it is you're doing on stream. And then you have a chat and then like those things themselves are already complicated. And then to add other people into the mix coming into your stream, it's definitely hard.
Yeah, gets very overwhelming pretty quickly.
How do you think your stream content has changed since you started?
It's always been a hot mess. Not even gonna lie, it's been a hot mess. But I think we went from kind of like super simple, just like a little layout, and I had a couple emotes. And from there, I would do like a lot of just snap builds. Because that's what I was used to. But as I kind of started progressively going throughout like, the months, the years, I started customizing and kind of showing that on stream. And then I kind of found my aesthetic too. Because I started streaming games a little bit before Gunpla, or I would mix them more, I would say, because I'm a huge horror fan. So I'd play spooky games a lot. And so my layout was more geared towards like the paranormal stuff that I like. And so now I've kind of like found the aesthetic that I like with my layout and what I'm comfortable with on stream and, kind of like knowing my limits. So I'd say progressing is just finding like that comfort zone of mine and being able to show the custom pieces that I want to make.
You've been better finding kind of the things that you want to focus on while streaming to your
Mm-hmm.
community. Very
Yeah,
cool.
it definitely kind of went like more of a broad stream where it was more like variety all the time. And now I've kind of just cut it down
Mhm.
into what I want to show. And I definitely like found my footing, so to speak, over the years of streaming.
If it wasn't building on stream, what do you think you would be streaming these days?
Definitely probably horror games
Yeah.
or maybe crappy dating simulator sims. But I love horror games a lot. And I've actually been thinking about maybe doing like one day a week where we do a horror game because
Ooh.
they're scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're really, really scary. And I do watch like a lot of paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
Huge believer
Yeah.
in ghosts. So it's just kind of, it's like another side to my personality and
Yeah.
stuff. So I'd like to sometimes share that. And it might be a thing we bring back like once in a while.
Yeah. Would you go as far as introducing ways for your community to scare you while you're playing those games?
I have those and it was awful.
No,
The
no.
worst decision. So I do have scare sound alerts still on my stream. And there's a couple people who will use them so many times during the stream to try and get me while I'm like focusing in on something like hand painting.
Oh my god.
And then they'll like do the scare sound bite and I'm like, oh my goodness. So yes, that is a thing that I've definitely had in my stream and probably will continue to have.
Excellent.
I find it fun. So
yeah. Good.
And I get scared easily.
Yeah. So jump
yes.
scares get you
all the time.
Oh man.
All the time.
Yeah, now feels like a really good time to do a lot of that because I feel like it's just grown, like that genre of games has grown so widely over the last couple years, and across Twitch, it's really easy to do that sort of thing now. So I feel like if scary or like horror games was something that someone would do as a niche on Twitch especially, it was not rare, but it wasn't very as common as it is now. So I feel like you would be able to really just kind of slide right into that whole category of games and see some fun and success in it. So
yeah, it was definitely something that when I first started Twitch, it was not like a big deal to play horror games. And I remember like playing Phasmophobia when it first came out. And then I discovered people started streaming it on Twitch. Like, this is great.
Oh yeah.
Scary game. Scary.
Yeah, I love it. I would love to see you do horror streams in general. So either way, I would love to see it. So let me know. I'll be watching. I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, definitely gonna probably incorporate them a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. You've been at this for a while. You've gotten comfortable with where you're at for your content in your community. It sounds like you have a very solid idea of who you are as a streamer and what you want to do. Where do you want to take it going forward? What are your hopes or goals for your Twitch channel and your community?
So I'm kind of just more like winging it on everything. If say partner ever happens, it happens. But it's not something that I'd ever want to do, say like full time or anything, because to me it would start taking the joy out of it. So I think kind of where I have my stream now is where I really, really love it. I would want to grow it a bit more.
Hmm.
And that's just for the sake of like having the charity events that I do, and
Hmm.
kind of getting more coverage on that specifically.
Hmm.
But also, if for some weird reason we ever were to be partnered, I would probably take a lot of those proceeds and put them away towards building like my own cat rescue, which is a huge dream of mine.
Yeah.
Totally not exuding crazy cat mom vibes, right? I've
No.
only mentioned them like 10 or 11 times. Um, but that's kind of one of my dreams is I would want to put it towards like a house big enough to house cats and take them off the streets because there's like just way too many that are, without homes. So
That's awesome. And you mentioned charity. I believe you have a charity event coming up. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I do.
Yeah.
So every year, this is the third year we're doing it. I run a birthday charity event, and it is to benefit Cats in Needs Diamond Bar. That's where my boys came from and where I rescued them. And last year, we did a 12-hour stream. It's going to be the same this year. We have a ton more prizes this year. And we also have something very, very special. I can't like give away too much, but there might be a Major Tom sticker, and proceeds might
Oh.
go to the cat charity for an entire week if you buy from USA Gundam store. But there is there's more on that to come. So
Oh, that's exciting. Do you have like
it's very exciting.
do you have like a time, like a range of when that's going to go on?
Yeah, it'll be April 1st through the 8th.
Great.
And then I am going to be streaming the actual charity event on the 8th. And my goal is $5,000. Last year we did 4,400. And USA Gundam Store did match 2,000 of that. So
Oh,
I'm
cool.
really hoping that we do $5,000 this year for the biggest.
That's exciting. So in April, keep an eye out,
Yes.
folks, for that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and I'll post more about it. We're just working on like the graphics and fine tuning the details and like our raffle prize list and whatnot.
That's exciting. And I love how you're picking something that supports a cause you're passionate about, as well as tapping into incentives that also are linked to your actual like everyday content. So that's exciting.
Mhm.
That's really cool. And you said this will be the third year that you've done it?
Yeah, this is the third year that we've done it. And each year just kind of gets bigger and bigger. The prize list gets bigger. And this year we have some really good ones too. And it's
Yeah.
really just awesome. I think it's also like really nice too because my partner store USA and then also my sponsor store Kraken Ichiban both are putting in really good prizes, and then members of TGG or those Gundam guys, they also are donating a bunch of prizes. So that's really cool. So we're going to have some of our merch, which is like our TGG and SCGMC t-shirts as well that are going to be in that prize pool. So
yeah, that sounds like a cool event. I can't wait to check it out this next time it comes around. And that's awesome. So everyone keep an ear out for those upcoming promotions and this cool event. So there was a question from ArcFox regarding your preferences on building. So scratch building parts or kit bashing. What's your preference, if any, when it comes to customizing a kit?
So I feel like I don't really have, I guess, like a favorite. I do a little bit of both. Mainly when I'm quote unquote like kit bashing. I use detail parts that you can buy. So like I specifically use a lot of the Apex ones, which is USA's like their own brand.
Mhm.
But Kotobukiya, things like that, they all sell like little detail parts. So Major Tom actually has a lot of those detail parts in there that are the Apex versions.
Mhm.
And they're anything from like where they're cable connectors and things like that. But there are certain things that I need to scratch build, and I enjoy scratch building. I think the biggest example would be Major Tom, because the faceplate was always meant to be pushed in, and I had to create a track to like scratch build the track and then get a little part that would like fit into the rectangle.
Yeah.
And it had to be just a hair tinier than everything else,
Right.
so that it would like slide perfectly and then have a stopper on it. So I don't really have a preference on it, but
Yeah.
there's definitely, I feel like, drawbacks when you use, say, like detailed parts, whereas you can get like a better customization in what you exactly need when you just build it yourself.
Do you have any thoughts on what it takes to stream either of those? Like, how do you feel when you're trying to do all of that live in front of like people on Twitch?
It can be hard and also very frustrating because trying to focus and do it at the same time as talking to other people, you just really, you don't get a lot done usually. So if I'm really focused, I do sometimes stop talking, and then I'll notice and I'm like, I'll look back up and I'll be like, okay, let's get back to talking.
Yeah.
And this can wait. But there's also a lot of, in my opinion, I feel like people probably find some of it uninteresting content
Right.
because there's a lot of, taking piece A and taking piece B, C, D, and seeing what fits best.
Right.
Or going back, especially like if you're scratch building, a lot of it is sanding. And like I'll make jokes all the time. Like we're doing a sanding ASMR,
Right.
video today. But that's what can be hard when you get into more like customizing and scratch building is sanding, which is the bane of my existence. And seeing what fits, what works, and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So sometimes you won't have a lot of progress and you're just happy that you found one piece that works.
Right. There's the trial and error or trying to make something work the way you want it to, and then a lot of problem solving over that time while having a chat, sitting there talking and watching.
Yes. And then trying to do math to make everything to scale.
Right. Goes out the window, right?
Oh, yeah. I think I cried on stream once because I was so frustrated trying to do math. And I was like, I can't do this. I was like, it's going to be to scale as best as my eyes can tell.
Yeah. I think you're far braver than I am because I don't think I would even want to attempt that. So that's definitely what I would expect in terms of like being very difficult to try to do in real time in front of a Twitch chat, because like not that things can go wrong per se, but it's more like, okay, how do I deal with this one thing that has just come up, and then you're in problem solving mode, and then like Chris in chat said, get used to not getting a lot done. Right? You're just
it's true.
Yeah. That's definitely something interesting about that aspect of your content. So yeah,
it can be hard too, especially when like you yourself, that you're struggling a bit or you need help. You don't know how to go about something. Like I've definitely had moments like that, and kind of where I get a little flustered and I'm like,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the reality is if you want to do customizations, that's how it is. So I'd
Yeah.
rather people watch my mistakes, and if they have like an opportunity to like learn from that, or they can see like it's okay if we mess up, because a
Yeah.
lot of the times, you'll see the before and then the end product on like Instagram and things like that. You don't see all those little like mistakes that were made, or
Yeah.
how many times you may have stripped the paint on something. For instance, I had to do that with Major Tom
Right.
twice.
Yeah.
And everything was full put together, and I couldn't get alcohol to strip it on the inside. So that had to be masked off and then hand sanded. It
Wow.
was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more we can kind of show the things that failed and the little mistakes that we made, that's why I keep that all in stream, even
Yeah.
when it can be frustrating.
Yeah. That's awesome to get that look at the process. I think that's really valuable for especially those who are not as experienced with that aspect of it. And that's really cool that you just do it. You just do it on stream. So I huge kudos to you for doing that. That's really awesome.
Thanks.
You've been at this for a while. You've been doing this for some years now. Is there anything you would tell someone who is trying to like get into the streaming space or wanting to build content in general, or even specifically some like around Gunpla or something like it? What would you tell them?
Yeah, so it's funny because a couple people have asked me this
Hmm.
week, like where they should start. My best advice is pick something that you love, whether it be Gunpla, Lego, games, beads. It could be anything. Just pick what you love
Hmm.
and be yourself. Because even when I first started, I kind of, and this is back on like Instagram and stuff, I kind of found myself watching what I said because I have no filter sometimes, and things can get really 18 plus real quickly with
Yeah.
certain things.
Yeah.
And I just found that it was so uncomfortable for me to hold back
Yeah.
who I was as a person that I say, put yourself out there, be yourself, because you can kind of tell when people aren't being themselves and genuine while streaming. So I think that that's my two biggest pieces of advice
Yeah.
is be yourself, also wing it. Just wing it till you make it, man.
Yeah.
And do something that you love. And I think that way it doesn't matter, say, how successful as a streamer you become, because you're
Hmm.
you're doing something that you love,
Yeah.
and people are going to notice that.
That also answers my next question, because I was going to ask you what do you think makes a successful stream?
Add some humor in there. A pinch of dark humor is always nice.
Right.
2 to 3 people that want to make your chat chaotic. I think that's what makes a perfect stream. And
Yeah.
cats, when
And cats.
people's animals come on to stream
Yeah.
or things like that.
It's really cool to have you on here. I'm really glad that we got to talk about what you do. And you got your charity stream coming up. I love what you do. I love your community. You guys are awesome over there. Keep doing what you're doing. The fact that you have this cool no chill community that just does whatever the hell they
Not at
want over
all.
there. I love it. And the fact that you build these kits on stream and that you get to inform people about them, just thank you for doing that. And like I said earlier, it's such a rare thing to find on Twitch that I appreciate what you're doing, and it's my hope that it continues to grow alongside you, this hobby on specifically this platform, because I know how hard it is to see other creators that do this. It's hard to find them. So I just want
It
to thank
is.
you for your work and what you do, and keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, and thank you. I appreciate you so much for, bringing me on here. this is actually a lot of fun, and I love to talk about,
Yeah.
the hobby and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
you can come back anytime. We can cover as much of this as you want to. I try not to take up a lot of time of the guests, but you're always welcome to come back, and we can always discuss anything, not just Gunpla, but whatever you like, or just content creation or anything. I love doing this. I love getting to know all of you who come on here. We have a tradition on the show where I try to give the guests the final moments of the stream to close it out. So I'm going to give you a second to think about that while I tell everyone who is watching and or listening to go follow Meg. All the links are in the notes here. If you're watching this as a podcast or YouTube video, there'll be a charity stream coming up. If you want to learn more about building model kits or Gunpla or anything like that, check out Meg's channel. And thank you. Thank you for joining me on this stream.
yeah, no, thank you for having me. And um, all I have to say is thanks, everybody. And yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for showing up and being interested in all of this. So,
Of course. I'm
so I'll
glad.
catch you guys hopefully around.